Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Prepper Talk Radio. If you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble, you'll notice that there's only two of us today. It's a sad day. Paris and I are here, but Shane has bugged out for the day. He'll be back. But we're here to catch up on some things we've talked about, help you get caught up, but also talk about what are we doing with what we've just learned, and what are you going to do with what you've just learned. So with that, let's jump into it. We are brought to you today by Jase Medical. We both got our kits this week from Jase Medical. Super excited. If you guys use medicines ever, like, I don't know, maybe you get sick, colds, need something like a Z-Pack, et cetera, you want to make sure you've got your own set of antibiotics for the year. And that way, if you're gone, if you're bugged out, if you don't have a way to get to it, you've got something. Amazing. It's $259, but we've got a $10 off coupon. If you use the link on our website, go to preppertalkradio.com, go to the gear page, and right there at the top, we've got all of our promos. So you can see that, but you can also see the Fortress Clothing 20% off deal if you use the code PREPPER. So use those links. That'll get you the deals. Jase Medical, awesome company. We love them. We're going to have an interview with their CEO in the next couple of months. So stay tuned for that. They've got some big stuff coming. And, as usual, help support the show. Use our links. If you have questions on products or gear, get in our Facebook group, get in our website, let us know what you have questions on, and we are here to help. That's what we do. And we are supported by you guys clicking on our links, buying products that we recommend to you, or in other cases, working with clients that we work with, experts, vendors that we can connect you with. So let us know where you need help. We'll put you in the right place to get that help. So as usual, Prepper Talk Radio, we are radio for the ready-minded. How you doing, Paris?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Sad that Shane's gone, but he's in a good place. As they say, he's in a better place.
He's in a better place. That's actually sad that you brought that up, because one of his favorite prepping movies is Tremors.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we're going to talk about that in a couple of weeks, but one of the stars of Tremors just passed away last week. Did you know that?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, Shane, I'm so sorry. Like, he was my favorite character on the show. It's oh shoot, I just forgot his name. It's such a funny show. Like, it's such a weird genre. The other night I tried to stay up. Well, I didn't try to stay up. I was up. I was like insomnia. And so I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna watch, the second, third, and fourth, however many until I can fall asleep. Tremors. And it was so bad. I was watching the third one. It was so bad. I'm like, how does he love this whole thing?
The CGI?
Just the whole show. Like, the dialogue, like, it's just so cringe. It is. That's so funny. You're just like, oh no, I really want to keep watching this. But like the first one, I love the first one.
Oh, me too. Yeah, me too.
The second one's pretty good. The third one, I'm like, oh. I think the sixth one is where I watched that one all the way through, and I'm like, wasn't as good as the first, not as good as the second, but it was definitely better than the third. I'm watching the third, and I'm just like, shoot me, somebody throw dynamite, like, get me out of here.
That's funny.
And what's funny is I actually quit doing that, and I'm like, this is like 3 a.m. I'm like, I can't watch it, and I started listening to our podcasts.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm like, I'm gonna go listen because there's so much good information we get that it's not useful to just go through it once. It's useful to go through it twice, 3 times, listen to it, download it, save it. But then, like, what am I doing with my brain?
Funny.
But if you're not putting this stuff into your brain, like, and you're not doing something with it, you're going to forget it. And that's the biggest point of why we do what we do. Helps us get better and put it into practice. And hopefully you guys are doing the same thing, listeners. Put it into practice, like, action plan it out. So today, Paris and I want to talk about kind of what have we learned over the last few weeks, and how are we putting that, or how are we implementing that into our preparedness practice?
Yep.
So what's your biggest takeaway in the last few weeks, Paris?
Well, for sure, I learned so much. I get to edit the videos, so I actually watch them again. I edit them. I get them all ready to be to launch. I get them ready for the YouTube channel. I put them up there, and I get them ready for the audio version for Scott to then post on the podcast. So I get to watch it sometimes in slow motion, sometimes in double speed. So I get to watch and listen to it a couple times, and it's really good for me to do that, because I'm remembering some of the things like I shared it, I did a live in our group not too long ago about my kit and reviewing my kit. And I realized, you know, the information that I had when I built my kit was what I learned 3 or 4 years ago, which was good information, but there's more that I've learned since then. There's events I've gone to. I've met you and Shane now and had a lot of more conversations with the two of you. And so there's some things in my kit for sure that I need to do. I realized that my kit, when I put it together, it was kind of like a one size fits all. And that doesn't, I don't like that
Doesn't
anymore.
fit you.
Yeah, it
make
doesn't.
sense.
It doesn't.
And that's most of the kits you just go buy are this generic one size fits all.
Yeah.
But it's, to me, it's almost like they're trying to hit you with items that they think are sexy too. It's like all kinds of different fire starters, all kinds of different, like a tube tent. And I'm like, what is the realistic use of any of this stuff?
Yeah.
Like, I could save space and weight by switching these fire starters to a lighter, just a simple lighter. And then I could take duct tape and wrap it around the lighter. And now I have duct tape and a lighter. And it's like, I don't need a whole roll of duct tape, even though I have a whole roll of duct tape in one of my bags. Like, put what you need in there, right? I don't need I don't need 200 feet of cordage. I might need 30 feet. Right. So figure out what works for you. So like, what are some of the things you took out, or what are some of the things you added after going through those videos again?
Well, one of the things I did for sure was I had like 7 ferro rods. I'm like, I don't need 7 ferro rods. I don't need I had like 6 knives. One of the funny things was I looked at the knives. I'm like, I have like 4, you know, fixed blade knives. I'm like, but at the end of the day, dude, how many knives is too many? Like, it's not, you can't, like, right, guys? Like, anybody listening out there? No, but like, anybody my wife asks me all the time. She's like, how many knives do you need? I'm like, all of them. I need all of them.
Which is a correct answer. You do need all of them.
But I don't need that many in my bug out in one of my bags. I can have a knife in different modules that I'm then, you know, mixing together. I have one in my car kit, one in my bug out kit, one in my grab and go. Like, I can have them in different places, but in all in one is not where I need it anymore.
So I've got this utility knife that I had in one of my bug out bags. I've taken it out just because the functionality is not that great. It's lightweight, except for the fact that I've got
all the refills,
these other tools on it, right?
Oh,
which is great, but it's not as efficient as I think I should be. And then this is the one that I've always kind of like laughed at. Like, what am I going to do with a saw that short? Like, really?
Spend 3 years cutting a piece of wood.
Yeah. It's like, Stanley, do better. Like, that is just too small of a saw to use. Then I've got this other multi-tool that I carried in one of my bags for a while.
Oh, that looks cool.
It does.
It's got a crescent wrench on there.
But look how small it is.
Yeah, that's true.
For babies. Like, I've got a lot of cool stuff on here, like this little flashlight that stopped working that has a ferro rod on the side. Like, it could be great, but it stopped working, right? And then I've got all these, can't even get them out, Allen wrenches, you know, and other stuff. I have all the instructions on it there just in case I need paper for fire. But I'm like, this is a huge block, and it's heavy, but it came with one of my kits once, and I'm like, I've kept it just because it's like, hey, let's just throw this in the car. But it's like, what do I actually carry? I always carry a knife on me, and then I put a utility knife with inside, it'll hold 5 more blades.
Nice.
So I can pop it out and swap it out and do what I need to do. This one has a Phillips head, but you'll notice the long flat head. You can fit a penny. You can fit so many things in there to unscrew these. Like, I can use my other knife at the back of the blade, right? There's so many ways to open this up and swap out the blades and always have a really sharp blade. This is always sharper than my knife. I mean, these are designed for, it's like super technical uses. Making kindling, flaring out wood. Like, there's so many things you could do with that. So I've eliminated a second fixed blade knife, and I've gone to this because to me it makes more sense, because most of my bags aren't for like wilderness survival.
Yeah.
And that's the key. Like, what are you using? What are you realistically going to do? If you have no business being in the woods, don't buy a wilderness survival bag. Like, and I see so many people that are like, I bought this kit, but I hate being in the woods. And I'm like, then why did you buy a wilderness survival style kit This is why we always tell everybody, build your own kits.
Yeah.
Like,
And build it to what you
you
think
know
is
what
you're
you
going to
know,
use.
you know who you are, you know what you will and won't do. If you will never go hunt a moose, don't get everything for hunting moose.
Mm-hmm.
If you will never go fishing, don't get stuff to go fishing. If you won't eat fish, why get fishing stuff to put in your bag? Like, you don't need to do wilderness survival stuff. Like, if you live in an urban area, you need urban survival gear. If
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to bug out to another location, then you need to think about, what am I getting for that location and to get to that location. So yeah, it's funny because I used to get all the wilderness survival stuff, but I lived
Uh-huh.
like for a while in just outside of LA, and I'm like, it's going to take me a week to get to the woods,
Yeah. Yeah.
on foot. And I'm like, I'm going to die before I use any of this stuff except for the water and the water filter
Yeah.
and the food bars. And so you have to think about realistically what makes sense. So, like, what else did you switch out?
So I realized I had a ton of kindling that I didn't necessarily need, because you can find kindling more. You don't need to necessarily carry. I mean, there's some things you need to have as fire starters, sure,
Mhm.
but frankly, you can do some things for kindling. One of the other things I realized is that I have five kids, but two of them are in college, and so I have three living with me, and each one of them has a bag. And so not only did I go through my bag, I went through my wife's bag, and I went through each of my three kids' bags. And just as a practice, just as a reality check, I'm just being honest with you 100%. Like, I got overwhelmed, and I was like, there's no way I'm fixing all five of these kits in one day. And I
Mhm.
was like, I've got to go through each one of these kits individually. And I told Shane that. Actually, I was texting him. I'm like, bro, I can't do 5 kits in one day. Like, I'm told my brain is shot, especially after doing yard work and everything else. I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I need to modularize. I need to get everything in its plate. And this is what he texted back to me. He says, everything has everything in its kit. No, he said, everything in its kit and a kit for everything. And I was like, yes, that's what I need to do. I need to get to, like, I want to have just a module of all my fire stuff, just a module of all my, maybe some tools, just a module of, my first aid, just a module of maybe my rope and some of the things that go along with my rope. I realized literally I took a spool of paracord, 1,000-foot spool, and I bought that on Amazon because it was a better deal than buying 10 100
Yeah.
foots. So I bought a spool of 1,000-footers, and I cut it down into 100-footers, and I put each one of my kids has a 100-footer. Well, I had 5 kids, so there's 7 of us. So I had 300 extra feet. So I'm like, well, just throw it in there too. So I had like 300 feet of paracord in one of my bags. I'm like, I don't need that much rope. Like, what am I doing?
But you can take that one and put a knife with it and roll it up on a different thing and put it in your car,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
cut it in half and
exactly.
put half in each vehicle. Like, and modulize it. Like, in my car, I have jumper cables, a battery bank that we can hand crank charge. We have a small solar panel.
Mm-hmm.
We have flares. We have extra water. We have extra food. We have games. But that's my car kit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my
Yeah.
car kit has specific items that maybe the rest of my stuff I don't need. I don't need jumper cables in my backpack. I don't, like, put what you need
Right.
in the modules that make sense. Like, and then also think about it differently. Like, this backpack could be used for 72-hour kit, 96, whatever you want to call it. I always say 96, but it's a small bag, but it's perfect for like a kid. And it's not one that they're going to go hiking with in the woods. But then my bags are actually built for backpacking.
Yeah, but better padding.
And it's like, does this look like a bug out bag?
Not
No.
really.
It's not tactical. It looks like I spent too much on a backpack for school.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can get around town with that. It's super light. It's got a waist strap on it. And that's what I switched. Like, when I first got going on the bug out bags, 96-hour kits, I had simple strap backpacks, and I went walking around with those, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't very comfortable. And at the peak of it, I had probably a 40-pound pack, and it was a mistake.
Yeah.
It was such a mistake. So now I have about 20 to 25-pound packs for me as an adult. For my kids, they're less than this. Well, one of them's 10, the other one's about 8 pounds. But I'm like, they can't really carry those very well. So for me, it's more modularized that I can just grab those and throw it on my chest. I can combine them into one bag. And I've got
Mm-hmm.
my backpack on my back, but their bag on my chest, and then we can walk. We're good. And they're finally big enough that they can walk on their own most of the time.
We had some really good comments on the video in the Facebook group too. So if you haven't got into our Facebook group, jump in our group, because there's some exclusive content that we just